Okay, so good morning everyone. So let's proceed with the part 2 of our discussion regarding about lesson 5 evolution of Philippine politics and governance. So we are done already with the Philippine Revolution. We are done already regarding about the uh Philippine Spanish War, Philippine American War, and we are now already with the American occupation or American colonization. So, pananakop ng mga Amerikano. So, nung tuluyang nasakop ng mga Amerikano ang ating bansa, may mga uri ng pamahalaan ang kanilang itinatag sa kanilang pananakop, no? So before that, at this time, we will study the evolution of Philippine politics during the time of American colonization down to Marcos regime or Marcos era. So kailan ba nagsimula ang official occupation of the Americans in the Philippines? It started in August 14, 1898. So nung nagsimula ang pananakop ng mga Amerikano sa ating bansa, ang naging commander-in-chief ng buong Pilipinas under American occupation ay ang Pangulo ng Estados Unidos noong mga panahong iyon, si Pangulong William McKinley. So during their occupation, the Philippines fall into the military government. So ang unang uri ng pamahalaan na kanilang itinatag dito sa ating bansa ay military government. So kapag sinabi nating military government, ang military government ay headed by a military governor. So ang namumuno ay military governor. Sinasabi ng benevolent assimilation na the Philippines is ours not to exploit but to develop, to civilize, to educate, and to train in the science of self-government. And that is according to President William McKinley. So, sinabi ng mga Amerikano na tungkulin daw ng Estados Unidos o ng Amerika na turuang maging sibilisado ang mga Pilipino, na turuang maging sibilisado ang mga unggoy sa Pilipinas. So, sa palagay ng mga Amerikano na marami pa sa mga Pilipino ang hindi pa marunong bumasa, no? Kulang yung kalidad ng edukasyon, kalidad ng antas ng kalusugan, at marami pang dapat ayusing mga gusot na nakikita nila sa ating lipunan. So, sabi ng Pangulo ng Estados Unidos, they wanted to teach the Filipinos to become civilized. So, of course, part of benevolent assimilation, no, the Americans claim their rule would bring democracy to increase the literacy of education and progress to the Filipino people. However, it must the true intent of colonization to establish the U.S. control over the entire Philippines. And this benevolent assimilation policy that was implemented by the Americans in the Philippines angered Filipino revolutionaries who had already declared their independence from Spain on June 12, 1898 under General Emilio Aguinaldo. No? So, the first type of government that was implemented by the Americans in the Philippines is the military government or pamakalaang militar. sa pagtatag, no, sa pagpapatupad or pagpapasailalim ng Pilipinas sa pamahalaang militar. Layunin nito na mapigilan ang maaring sumiklab na mga pag-aalsa. Kaya sa panahon ng pagpapatupad ng pamahalaang militar, mas minabuti ng mga Amerikano na ang namumuno ay mga gobernador militar, na ang gobernador militar na nagsisilbing kinatawan ng Pangulo ng Estados Unidos sa bansa, no? So the head of the military government is the military governor or gobernador militar. So they do this one because they wanted peace and order, no? They established American authority over the Philippines, and they prepare the country for civil governance under the US role. Ilan sa mga naging kilalang mga military governor na nagsilbi sa ating bansa sa mga panahong ito ay sila General Wesley Merritt. No, General Wesley Merritt is appointed as the first American military governor in the Philippines. No? At ang military government, the American military government was headed by American military governor that will oversee the whole government. The American military governor will exercise the executive function in the government, the legislative function, and the judicial power. So if there are cases to be heard during that time, since our country is under with military government, the cases, yung mga kaso will be placed into American military court or korte ng mga Amerikanong sundalo. So doon po lilitisin kung may mga kaso na dapat litisin. So, and of course, it will be judged by an American military judge. Si Elwell Otis is the second American military governor in the Philippines from 1898 to 1900s. So, it was during his time that the Philippine-American War broke out, and he also implemented the President William McKinley's policy of benevolent assimilation. And another military governor is Major General Arthur MacArthur, no, from 1900 to 1901. So during his time as military governor, American military governor in the Philippines, Major General Arthur MacArthur continued the suppression of Filipino resistance. So may mga ilan-ilan pa ring mga Pilipino na patuloy na nakikipaglaban sa mga Amerikano na hindi pa tinatanggap yung US rule. So during Arthur MacArthur time as a military governor, gradually transition authority to civil government. So, ilan sa mga nagawa ng pamahalaang militar, naging mapayapa at maayos ang ating bansa, ipinatupad ang sistema ng edukasyon na nakabatay sa sistema ng edukasyon ng mga Amerikano. So, ito ay ipinatupad din sa ating bansa. Nabuksan ang Maynila sa pandaigdigang kalakalan, so nagkaroon ng kakaunting improvement sa ating ekonomiya at nakapagtayo ng mga pamahalaang lokal sa mga lalawigan at bayan. So, of course, since they wanted to secure to implement order, so martial law was effectively in place. American forces govern local provinces and municipalities. So ito rin po yung pagsisimula ng public schools. Yung pagpapatayo ng mga public schools sa mga bayan, sa mga baryo, sa mga lalawigan. yung improvement ng sanitation system, at pagpapatayo ng mga basic infrastructure na mga buildings, no? At syempre, bahagi ng ginawang reforma ng edukasyon na ipinatupad ng mga Amerikano sa atin, yung pagpapadala ng American government dito sa Pilipinas ng mga Amerikanong guro na sila ay tinawag na mga Thomasites o Thomasites. So, yung Thomasites, they were a group of American teachers who arrived in the Philippines in 1901 to help establish a public education system under American colonial government. So, they played a major role in spreading English education and American culture throughout the country. So the origin of the name of this group of teachers, they were called Thomasites because they arrived in the Philippines aboard the U.S. Army transport ship named Thomas on August 21, 1901. That is why they are called Thomasites. So yung kanilang sinakyang barko patungo dito sa Pilipinas ay Thomas. So later, a group of teachers so followed were also called Thomasites, even if they came on other ships. So the purpose of the Thomasites or teachers were sent here in the Philippines to teach English to Filipino students, train Filipino teachers in the new education system, help establish public schools across the Philippines, and promote American ideals such as the idea of democracy and civic responsibility. So, yun po ay ilan lamang sa mga nagawa ng military government o ng pamahalaang militar. Okay. Yes. So, General Arthur MacArthur was also the last military governor in the Philippines. Okay. In March 1901, the military government in the Philippines was abolished or stopped because it was changed into a new type of government that was called civil government. Sa bisa ito ng Spooner Amendment. So, pinalitan ang military government at nagkaroon tayo ng panibagong pamahalaan na itinatag na tinawag na civil government. So, to replacing military rule. So, the civil government is it lasted until the establishment of the Commonwealth government in the Philippines in 1935. So it was changed to civil government because according to the recommendation of the first Philippine Commission or Scorman Commission, kailangan daw palitan ang uri ng pamahalaan na itatatag ng mga Amerikano dito sa ating bansa from military to civil. Because if they will do that, the Filipinos will be much more cooperative to them. So magkakaroon ng cooperation from the Philippines, from the Filipinos, if they will change the government. So, and that is also part of the recommendation of the First Philippine Commission or known also as Corman Commission. So, ang Philippine Commission, ang unang pangkat na ipinadala ng Pangulo ng Estados Unidos ni Pangulong William McKinley na magmasid, magsiyasat at mag-ula tungkol sa totoong kalagayan ng ating bansa noong mga panahong iyon, ang mga pangkat na iyon ay tinawag na Philippine Commission. So they are sent here by the power of the American president, no, to observe the the condition of the Filipinos, kung ano ba ang totoong kalagayan ng ating bansa, yung mga problema ng ating bansa. So, ang unang pangkat na ipinadala ng Pangulo ng Estados Unidos sa ating bansa ay ang First Philippine Commission or known as Scorman Commission dahil yung pinuno ng pangkat na ito ay si Jacob Scorman kaya tinawag ang kanilang grupo na Scorman Commission. So, layunin nito na matiyak na maayos at magkaroon ng gabay ang Estados Unidos sa pamamahala no how to effectively rule the Philippines. Kung ano ang maging datos, informasyon na makuha ng mga pangkat sa problema, kalagayan ng Pilipinas ay makapagbibigay sila ng mga angkop na pamaraan para maayos yung mga gusto at problema na kanilang nakita dito sa ating bansa and to effectively function and to effectively rule the whole Philippines during this time. And according to the findings of the Scorman Commission or First Philippine Commission, so as what I said, they are considered as a fact-finding group and they will investigate the ways on how to effectively administer or rule the whole country by the Americans. And according to the Scorman Commission investigation, the Filipino natives will stop to resist to them if the Philippines will fall into a civil government. So ito ay ayon sa ulat at rekomendasyon ng First Philippine Commission or Scorman Commission na kailangan palitan talaga ang uri ng pamahalaan na itatag ng mga Amerikano dito sa ating bansa. From military, it should be a civil type of government. Okay. So, Scorman Commission. So, si Jacob Scorman ang namuno, kaya tinawag itong Scorman Commission or First Philippine Commission. So, layunin nito na makipag-ayos sa mga Pilipino, siyasatin ang totoong kalagayan ng bansa at magbigay ng rekomendasyon ng pamahalaang angkop sa ating bansa noong mga panahon iyon. At ayon sa ulat ng pangkat na ito sa Pangulo ng Estados Unidos na si Pangulong William McKinley, sinabi nila na ang Pilipinas ay hindi pa handa sa pagsasarili o kasarinlan. So, hindi pa tayo handa daw sa ating pagsasarili para maging isang malayang bansa. No? So, ito yung diagram na magpapakita ng transition ng pamahalaan na itinatag ng mga Amerikano from military government to civil government. So, unang itinatag nila yung military government, pagkatapos yung pamahalaang civil or civil government. At yung sinimulan, yung pangalawang pangkat na ipinadala ng Pangulo ng Estados Unidos dito sa ating bansa upang magsiyasat, magmasid sa totoong kalagayan ng ating bansa ay ang Taft Commission. So, sila ay pumarito sa ating bansa noong Hunyo 3, 1899. So, layunin ito na paundarin ang kabuhayan ng mga Pilipino at pagsasaayos ng serbisyong sibil ng ating bansa. Inirekomenda ng pangkat na ito sa Pangulo ng Estados Unidos na kinakailangan talaga ang pagpapatayo ng pamahalaang sibil. So, they give recommendation that there's need to change the government from military government to civil government na nababagay ito o angkop sa Pilipinas ng mga panahong iyon na kabibilangan ng mga Pilipino. So, kailangan civil government because the Filipinos are to be allowed to be part of the government. At yun ay ayon din sa rekomendasyon ni William H. Taft na makalaunan sa pagsisimula ng civil government. Si William H. Taft ang naging unang civil governor under sa civil government na kanilang itinatag. The popular name of the Second Philippine Commission was also known as Taft Commission. William Taft, the first American civil governor of the Philippines. So this government, the civil government, was based on the idea of preparing Filipinos for self-government under American guidance. No, the goal of the second government is to promote peace and order after the years of conflict, to develop education, infrastructure, and public health in the country, to train the Filipinos in self-rule and democracy, and to introduce American laws and institutions to be implemented in the country, in the Philippines. Sa bisa ng susog spooner o batas na ito na itinatag o ipinatupad o nailathala noong March 2, 1901, o mas kilala sa tawag na Spooner Amendment sa US Congress, na kung saan ito ay pinangunahan ni American Senator John C. Spooner sa US Congress. Isinusog nito na palitan ng pamahalaang sibil ang pamahalaang militar sa Pilipinas, na ilipat sa Kongreso ng Estados Unidos ang pamahala sa ating bansa. At dahil dyan, na itatag ang pamahalaang sibil. So, nagsimula ang pagtatag ng pamahalaang sibil sa ating bansa noong 1901 at ito ay nagtapos noong 1935. So, makikita po nyo sa larawan sa ating screen ang pagpapasinaya sa opisyal na pagtatag ng pamahalaang sibil noong July 4, 1901 na itinalaga bilang unang civil governor sa ating bansa si William H. Taft or William Howard Taft. Sa pagtatag ng pamahalaang sibil or civil government, layunin nitong sanayin at makilahok ang mga Pilipino sa pamahala ng ating bansa. So the Filipinos are allowed to be part of the government. Okay? So during the Scorman Commission, they also grant the Philippines to have a semi-autonomy in order to promote to the Filipinos that their intention is in good faith and establish a better image to the Filipinos. Na gusto nilang hindi sila magmukhang mananakop. And because of that, the Filipinos are given one of the powers in the branches of the government at ang unang kapangyarihan na ibinigay ng mga Amerikano sa atin ay ang judicial powers in the government or judiciary function in the government. Yung paghatol ng mga kaso, paglilitis sa mga kaso, no, sa yung Supreme Court, no. So, yan ang trabaho po nila. Kung ang kaso ba ay nakasaad ba sa konstitusyon, it is constitutional or unconstitutional, no? So, sinabi ni Civil Governor William H. Taft, ang unang civil governor sa kasaysayan ng ating bansa, sa panahon ng mga Amerikano, ang Pilipinas ay para sa mga Filipino. So, the Philippines is for the Filipinos. So, this policy of Governor Taft, which won him the friendship of and support of the Filipinos. So, dahil unang ibinigay sa atin na kapangyarihan ng pamahalaan na ang judicial powers of the government or judicial branch. So, it started the reopening of the courts. So, yung mga korte ay ni-reopen. So, and it also established the Supreme Court of the Philippines. At karamihan sa mga korte no mga panahong iyon ay American-style courts and laws were introduced. So, with the judiciary government granted to the Filipino representative in the government, it is also the time that the audiencias or court are reopened, and the first Filipino Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the Philippines is Cayetano Arellano. And after that, pagkatapos na ibinigay sa atin yung judicial powers or judiciary function in the government, yung kasunod naman na ibinigay ng mga Amerikano sa atin na kapangyarihan sa pamahalaan ay ang paggawa ng batas, pagbalangkas ng batas, ang legislative function of the government, the legislative function in the government, no? So, okay, before that, ito ang larawan ni Cayetano Arellano. at ni Gregorio Araneta. So, sila ay naglingkod noong mga panahong yon. So, mga naging civil governor sa kasaysayan ng ating bansa, uh, si Luke Edward Wright, si Francis Harrison Burton, no? At si Luke Edward Wright, he was the first American to enjoy the title of Governor General of the Philippines. Si Francis Harrison Burton, the most liberal-minded American civil governor and who Philippinized the Philippine Civil Service. So if you wanted to work in the government, you need to pass the Civil Service examination na kung saan ang nag-Philippinize sa exam na yun ay si Civil Governor Francis Harrison Burton. Na yung mga questions ay dapat madaling maintindihan ng mga Pilipino kapag sila ay magtitake ng pasulit na ito. And Francis Harrison Burton he also held the record of having the longest tenure of office among the American civil governor that became civil governor in the Philippines. Ilan pa rin sa mga naging civil governor sa ating bansa, si Leonard Wood from 1921 to 1927, si Frank Murphy noong taong 1933 to 1935. So ilan sa mga ambag ng pamahalaang sibil na bigyan ng pagkakataon ng mga Pilipinong makilahok sa pamahala na ibahagi sa mga magsasaka ang ilang lupaing dating pag-aari ng mga Kastila at nabigyang halaga ang antas ng kalusugan at sanitasyon sa mga lungsod at sa mga lalawigan. Itinuro ang wikang Ingles at kaisipang demokratiko ng mga Pilipino noong kasagsagan ng pamahalaang sibil. So, Frank Murphy is also the American civil governor, governor general, and the youngest American civil governor to official to work in the Philippines during the American period. And so Copper Act or Philippine Bill of 1902. It provided the creation of the Philippine Assembly. No? So it's the foundation of the establishment or the formation of the Philippine Legislative that consists the upper chamber and lower chamber of the legislative function of the government. At ayon sa Cooper Act, ang Bill of Rights na meron daw sa mga Amerikano, it should be extended also to the Filipinos. And part of the Cooper Act, those rights enjoyed by the American citizen will be also enjoyed by the Filipinos. So because of this law, we are not allowed to send emissary or Filipino representative to become a resident commissioner in the United States Congress. Okay. So we are allowed to send. So dahil sa batas na ito, ang Pilipinas ay pwedeng makapagdala ng emissary or Filipino representatives to be part temporarily, no, magmasid, mag-observe kung ano yung ginagawa sa United States Congress, no, para maging isang resident commissioner, temporary resident commissioner na Pilipino na galing sa ating bansa, galing sa ating hanay ng mga naglilingkod sa pamahalaan dito sa ating bansa. These Filipino resident commissioner are given the privilege to speak before the U.S. Congress, but during important votation, since they are just a temporary resident commissioner, they don't have the right to vote in the U.S. Congress because hindi naman sila bahagi talaga ng U.S. Congress. They are just sent there to observe kung ano yung ginagawa sa U.S. Congress. Temporary resident commissioner. in the US Congress that comes from the Filipino officials that is working in the government here in our country. Isa sa mga naging resident commissioner na ipinadala sa US Congress ay si Manuel L. Quezon, na alam naman natin makalaunan noong 1935 Commonwealth Government Election. Siya ang naging nanalong pangulo sa eleksyon na yon at sa ating sa pamahalaang yon, no? Na kung saan si Manuel Quezon, si Pangulong Manuel Quezon ay makikita po natin sa 20 peso bill na ating ginagamit sa ating salapi, no? Salaping pera na ating ginagamit. Dahil sa kanyang naging karanasan bilang resident commissioner sa US Congress, dito niya natutunan na hindi pala lahat ng mga Amerikanong officials, no, ay pabor sa pagsakop ng Amerika sa ating bansa. So nalaman nila na may ilan-ilan palang mga opisyales na galing sa US Congress are not in favor for the US to rule the Philippines or to occupy us or to colonize us. The Philippine legislature, based on the Cooper Act, is composed of upper chamber that was called or composed of what we know as Philippine Commission. So, part of the Philippine legislature na gumagawa ng batas sa pamahalaan dito sa ating bansa noong panahon ng civil government, the Philippine Commission consists of American appointees or American representatives or few Filipinos, so they appointed to become political advisors to govern and administer the country. Okay, so ito ang ilan sa mga batas, yung Cooper Act noong July 1, 1902 na naging batayan ng pamahalaang demokratiko sa ating bansa. Kabilang sa mga probisyon ng batas na ito ang pagtatag ng isang kapulungan ng mga mambabatas na binubuo ng mga Pilipino. And that is the reason in the Philippine legislature na makalaunan ito ang naging dahilan kung bakit nabuo ang Philippine Congress. Yung Philippine Congress na karamihan sa miyembro ng Philippine Congress ay galing sa mga mambabatas na mga Pilipino that they represent their provinces or their localities. So, ang batas na ito ay sinulat ni Henry Allen Cooper. Na alam na naman natin ngayon na ito yung kasalukuyang tinatawag natin na yung mababang kapulungan sa Kongreso, yung House of Representatives, yung mga congressman po. Hindi agad umiral ang Philippine Organic Act or Cooper Act in 1902 because the Americans lay down conditions that the Filipinos must do in order to implement these laws. So, these are the following conditions. So, hindi agad umiral ang batas na ito, no, dahil hindi nasunod yung mga kasunduan. So, una, part of the conditions of this law, there must be a cessation of violence. So, according to this condition, Filipinos must stop their rebellion or armed struggle to the Americans. Number two, part of the conditions, so there should be a census must be implemented in order to know that the population of the Filipinos during the time. So, kailangan magkaroon ng census para malaman ng mga Amerikano kung ilan na ba ang kabuang populasyon ng ating bansa noong mga panahong iyon. At pinaka-importante, there will be a 2 years of continuous peace. So, 2 taon magkakaroon ng walang labanan, no? Tigil putukan. So, under the Philippine Commission, we have the lower chamber or known as the Philippine Assembly. So, Philippine Assembly consists of 100% of the Filipino officials or representatives that they are voted by their countrymen to occupy different governmental position in their respective province or locality. So, ito yung natawag na Philippine Assembly or yung mga mambabatas. Mga mambabatas na galing sa mga lalawigan or mga probinsya. No?